Welcome to OLAi, Odyssey Local Artist Interviews. My name is Christopher Rose, and I'm the producer of this show. The things you will hear over the next hour represent the views of OLAi and the people making them. All opinions and quotations is in no way representative of River West Radio and the sole responsibility of the producer, guests, and callers. River West Radio is not liable for any legal issues arising from the content of this program. And hello again. Welcome back to River West Radio. I'm your host, Christopher Rose. Another episode of OLAi Odyssey Local Artist Interviews again. We are here today with Carter. How you doing? Welcome.
Hi. Doing good, Chris. How you doing?
Solid, man. I first want to just say thank you for coming down, taking time out of your day.
Well, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the stuff you've been doing? So that's what we're doing on the show here, just kind of get an idea of some of the things that local artists have been doing. And so for those tuning in, we're going to check out Carter's perspective on the city and its arts and music scene. So you're in a band right now, presently, the Newly Breads.
That's right, Chris.
Right. How long you guys been around for?
We just started playing this year, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Been together since about February. They're guys I've previously had musical projects with, though, so
Mm-hmm.
we've known each other for some time.
Mm-hmm. Through different bands and shows and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
What are all the members? There's 3 total. We got.
Yeah, well, there's myself. I play the bass. Then there's Jack Byler, who plays the guitar, and Rick Carlson on the drums.
Rick Carlson on las baterías, like in
Sí.
Spanish. Yeah, sí.
Sí.
Yeah, and Rick plays in a couple different bands, or at least one other one for sure that's also known around, Undercover Organism, that you formerly played bass with as well, but you guys are now venturing into sort of a different era and sort of sound with the Newlybreds. What do you guys kind of, what are you playing for the most part? What can we expect to hear if we see you guys live?
Well, Chris, we like to kind of think you could expect anything, you know, like we definitely try to play our the largest range of music that we possibly can. The other 2 guys and I are they're definitely into a lot of different types of music, big variety of tastes in the group. So we try and give everything like an equal play. But then it is guitar, bass, and drums. So it's like it's a rock band at heart.
Yeah, rock trio at heart. Really, the basic foundation of any band. Really, got your rhythm, bass, and drums all lined up. But we're not gonna go to your show and hear a John Coltrane song. We're not gonna go hear Iggy Pop exactly, or we're not gonna go hear something like a hip hop thing. I mean, exactly. You guys kind of have this developing sound that's sort of experimental with all those different flavors.
Yeah, it's that's right. I guess we don't really we don't try and like encompass any single genre down to like the finest detail like that, and we don't do any cover music, but we do try and give each every style that we're interested in a fair shake within the sound, but kind of put our own spin on it. Definitely not like not attempting to like revisit a certain genre.
Right.
I don't think.
Feeling on that progressive tip, if you will.
Yeah.
A little experimental, but
A little experimental, yeah. We like to do a lot of the weird time signatures and construct the songs a little differently than I guess like the traditional pop structure. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, bass is your primary go-to? Is that what you've been playing for most of your musical endeavors?
Yeah, that's what well, played a few different instruments as a younger kid, but been sticking with the bass ever since I was 11.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been my area of specialty
Yeah,
since then. Yeah.
excellent. How many? When did you start playing like out? I mean, you started picking up the instruments obviously early on, but when did you start publicly kind of playing, whether it was a house or for maybe a battle of bands or something like that?
Well, I guess I got serious about it when I moved down to Milwaukee to go to school.
Hmm.
I'm I used to live in Madison, and I did a little bit of playing there with had a band in high school, and I played once or twice out before before coming here. But it wasn't until I moved here that I decided to kind of like look for other musicians and
Hmm.
like get serious about trying to create some music.
Yeah, absolutely. So you came here and kind of just found that more blossoming aspect from your roots coming out of Madtown.
Yeah, I mean Madison's a great city to do it too, but
Oh yeah,
just the time and place for me, it was like it it had to be Milwaukee.
right on.
I'm glad for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and not to say you haven't I've seen you play out in Madison before. Are there some go-to venues that you have played out in Madison since you've sort of honed in your skills and developed the live playing stuff? Where's some spots out in Madison that you've played since moving from there?
Uh, well, I went back and played at like the Majestic Theater, and
Excellent.
there was another Madison's Downtown was another place.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I've been since moving back here. We actually with this current band we played a show over at Jack's our guitar player
Yes.
over at his house, his parents' house in Madison.
Excellent.
Just like in the basement for
Yeah.
a dozen or so people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that that's been one of my favorite venues.
Yeah. Right.
But those other places were great too. The Majestic is a beautiful venue, and Madison's Downtown it's a great bar, real classy place.
Yeah. Okay. Not yeah. Just to make sure people don't get confused that don't get
Right.
out to Madison. Madison's downtown is actually a pub, a lounge,
Yeah,
a
that's
bar, eatery.
You're right.
Versus although it is located right downtown, conveniently. So obviously having played out in Madison a couple times and in Milwaukee, do you notice maybe a different stretch of music from here and there?
Yeah, I would say there is definitely a difference in the local music scenes. I mean, Milwaukee is more conservative city, I would think in general, and the I think the styles of music that like get the most play sort of reflect that attitude here. I mean, like it seems like blues is really big. A lot of the more I guess like traditional styles of music are still like really alive in Milwaukee because there's a lot of people who have a lot of respect for that kind of music and still love that stuff. And I mean, it's not to say that there aren't blues bands in Madison, but it it's got a different sort of scene there. I think there's more of a I feel at least like in the college campus area, there's more of like an openness to maybe like experimental type stuff. There
Mhm.
seems to be more of like an electronic sort of music scene in Madison,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that realm of music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just what I've noticed. I could.
No, I think I would concur actually, because I definitely tune into a lot of the venues out there and see a lot of national acts that are electric, experimentally based, and um, in those venues, at least as of late, in recent year or so, it seems to be more of the thing you'd be hip to, hearing about a DJ or sort of a like jam electronic kind of show going on out there versus down here. I'm catching more, yeah, of that.
Mm,
I would say blues, um, infused rock, alternative sound.
hmm
Um, just in general, not only.
Definitely more like traditional, I guess, like conservative sort of like view uh, of developing a band or like developing music. I mean, not that that's nothing wrong with that or anything. Just it's a different way, I suppose.
Right, right, right. So, what are some venues in Milwaukee that you've had the opportunity to play in, that you kind of that come to mind first, for those maybe performers out of town that are looking to play in Milwaukee? Where are some spots you've played that you would recommend go-to spots?
Well, I would have to first of all mention Linneman's
Yes, yes.
in River West here. It's great because it has an open mic on Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
so anybody can come in. People who are just kind of like getting their feet wet in
Mm-hmm.
terms of playing out live, or but on the flip side of that, it's also, I think, has some of the best sound in River West in terms of a live music venue.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also one of the most professional venues.
Yeah, I think the owner sits
think-
in and does most of the
Yeah,
sound
and-
engineering for each show. I
Exactly.
don't really remember seeing anybody else back there, so it's
No,
pretty
you're
unique.
right. Jim Linneman, does he does the sound for each show
Mhm.
personally, and he'll give you a recording of your own stuff for only like $10, I think.
Oh, that's excellent.
It's a great place to play. I think that was one of the first places I played in Milwaukee
Mhm.
when I came here, and it's actually the next place where we have a show coming up on the 31st, and
That's
it's at
right.
Linneman's.
Very nice. So yeah, August 31st. That's a Friday night over at
Yes.
Linneman's. That's on, I believe, Wheel and Locust Street on the corner there.
That's right.
And you guys are gonna be playing with Heartland Wales, kind of a more blues folk-ish group, and the What Moves, or just What Moves minus
Yeah.
a little bit more of a acoustic jam set, and then you guys are gonna be bringing out the funk, as I like to perceive it as. Although I should maybe
Bringing out
maybe
the
say,
noise.
yeah, bringing out the noise. It's gonna be a lot of good tunes and variety there that night. Then with you guys alone, and then having those other elements in there too, it should be a very very excellent show. So you can expect to see Newlybreds down there at August 31st at Linneman. So that'd be good. You got any plans for any other events in the near future or further down the line? Are you guys working on an album or
We-
anything?
We're not quite I don't know, we're not quite agreed yet on the album thing, so maybe
Mhm.
talk about that at another time. But we have another show on September 8th. It's actually a festival, a going away festival for our good friend Bruce O'Shea, who's moving to Thailand, and he's organized Bruce Fest out in Germantown with
Nice.
a bunch of different bands, some DJs.
Mhm.
It's an overnight camp out
Mhm.
pig roast festival.
Excellent.
It should be a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to that. And,
Yeah. So if you need more information of that, I would be easy to say that people could contact one of you guys,
yeah,
maybe on Facebook for
you can.
your band page, Newlybreds, which is just NEWLYBREDS, Newlybreds, one word,
Hmm.
and reach out to those guys about more information about Bruce Fest, and that's September 8th. That sounds like a lot of fun, just camping, some food, music, a giant field to just boogie and get down in.
Yeah, it's gonna be
You
fun.
know,
You coming?
a night of music, a day of music. Yeah, I think I could make it up there, man.
Okay.
I don't foresee any other events around that time that
Yeah.
would keep me from going. But I would like to touch a little bit also on the different styles of music that you've kind of personally experimented with. What would you say are some of your uh, more influential styles or even artists? Um,
Well, being a bass player, I really was always like influenced by funk and kind of like soul music and R&B, like with those really like heavy bass lines that just like thump really hard, and those I love to listen to that kind of stuff. And but there's also speaking for the other guys, they love to listen to a lot of different kinds of rock music and
mhm.
you know hip hop and Latin. Jack, our guitar player, spent a year or 6 months in Spain studying guitar and has a bit of a Spanish flair on in his writing style. And yeah, so and then the whole experimental and kind of like progressive uh, I think is an influence
Und-
for us.
yeah, undeniably. And so you can hear that in different jams, such as Hace Calor,
Oh
one
yeah.
of your tracks. That's the heat, basically. It's hot, you know. So
Mhm.
that'd be a good jam to look out for. Uh, so as you guys are, getting together for practice or preparing for a show, is there kind of a general arrangement or a sort of a preparation that you guys do in when you're making your music?
Well, a lot of the times, it usually starts from one person coming in with an idea. There's been a few that we've developed collectively, but more often than not, it's kind of a single idea that then just branches off, as one person plays for the other people. But we kind of try to, I guess, avoid the traditional like verse chorus construction of music that is mostly associated with pop. But yeah, I guess if you can get any of that to play, maybe we can check it out. Otherwise,
Yeah, that'd be something definitely we can try to tune into. Otherwise, if you'd like, perhaps uh, maybe give us a free sample here, a little bass riff on the radio.
sure, I could do that.
All right, that sounds good, man. We got
I
Carter gonna
brought
give us a little bit of the realness
brought my
on the
axe here
sticky
for
icky.
you, Rosie.
Yes, that's what's up. So, we're gonna hear it a little bit live here. Is this gonna be maybe a little sample off of something live?
Uh, I don't think it is, but maybe it'll be something new
All right.
in the future.
Either way, this is Carter, bassist of Newly Bred. It's gonna give us a little something just to tune in and enjoy for a minute. Yeah, very nice, very nice. Appreciate that. I'm glad that you could give us a little sampler here. When you guys are constructing your songs,
Yeah, thank you, man.
is it usually one instrument or another that you feel tends to lead um, the main construct?
Uh, it often tends to be the guitar, just being that our guitar player is he's been a solo classical guitarist for many years, and so that tends to like bring a lot. Like when he writes, he tends to write a full guitar piece almost, and that
Hmm.
uh, tends to lead the piece a lot
Okay.
when he will write those. But then when the stuff comes out that's more the drummer and I, then it's a little more collective.
Hmm.
But yeah, a lot of the times I suppose the guitar does the leading. Not that we all don't take our turns.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, what what's one of the first songs that you personally learned that you started grooving on that kind of led you to?
You mean like when I first
Yeah,
picked up a bass?
yeah. What was one of the first tunes that you remember learning?
The first, oh man, I remember learning "Paranoid" by Black Sabbath. Uh, I think Rosie's looking it up here. He's gonna play it. It's a sweet jam. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just really liked the bass line, and it was a pretty simple one to learn for a beginner, I suppose, and that
Yeah, definitely.
it always was great to like play along with your favorite song, your favorite band or something, and
Yeah.
it's one thing that inspired me a lot when I was a kid playing music. Yeah.
Would you say there's been kind of a consistency of beats and rhythms and styles that you've kind of stuck with from when you kind of, I mean, when you first started to get into it compared to now, in between? Would you say you've sort of stayed in a similar, I mean,
I think
of
I've
course,
tried
trying
to
to, yeah.
embrace I guess prescribed to a singular philosophy that's kind of just that uh, the bass should really be it should really have all the groove, and I mean really like none of the tricky stuff matters as long as like those few right notes are there to just like keep it moving, and like uh, almost less is more, uh,
Yeah.
but um, yeah, just kind of finding the right finding the right notes to play and playing those, I guess, as opposed to just
Overcomplicating and trying to,
yeah,
yeah, man.
keep
It's
it simple,
putting too
stupid.
much salt in the soup,
Right.
you know. Just let it
Exactly.
be natural, what's coming easy.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily easy, but what's coming more fluently,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
And it's about yeah, you want to play that groove that everyone can feel, not just something that is intellectually stimulating, but something that is can
Yo,
make you move your
can you
butt
share
too.
with us a little intellectually stimulating groove for just a hot second, man? While you got that
Sure, I got
cold
it out.
that cold guitar with that maroon strap just ready to go. I want to hear the groove coming out of the Tiger Stripe bass. Yamaha all up in your ears. Yeah. That was lovely. I could definitely just keep on keeping on to that. No. Oh, nasty. Mm. You wanna give us maybe a little little. I'm gonna. How about this? How about I'm gonna see. I'm gonna give a.
You just call it out.
You just call it out Black Sabbath.
Oh, oh man, I don't know if I can remember that, man. I'm on the spot. That's about all I can remember.
Yeah,
From
man.
that. Yeah.
That's what's good.
Uh,
How about a little bit of Latin oriented? Very nice. Maybe straight rock. Mm, that's
how
what's
about
good.
that? That
That sounds
that
good.
your flavor?
That's my flavor. That's a little bit of salt I needed in my cup of soup. I don't know.
All right.
That's good, man. Um, yeah, I was looking forward to catching you guys down on August 31st.
Yeah, man.
There again for those people tuning in. The Newlyweds are gonna be playing at Linneman's Friday, August 31st, right over on Wheel and Locust Street. So that should be a
That's
good
right.
show.
With
And again,
Heartland Wales and What Moves.
yes, with Heartland Wales, What Moves, a little blues, funk, jazz, Latin, groove, folk style, rock, all kinds of stuff going to be going on there. 3 bands collectively going to be bringing the noise
Yes, sir.
for the girls and the boys. um, so when you picked up the bass, was that something you did by yourself? Did you have a teacher along the way that you feel motivated you, or have you kind of just been a solo and working with different musicians?
Well, I have an older brother who plays guitar, the 6-string guitar, and
Mm.
you know I think that was probably, thinking back on it, like a motivator for me to pick up the bass, just to like, I wasn't doing the same thing as he was, and
You got the guitar, I'm gonna play the bass.
yeah, and
Yeah, just one of those.
right, exactly. Like I think that kind of like, uh, having an older brother who played guitar, like lent itself to kind of me trying to,
Now,
I
do you
guess,
come from
take
a
a different perspective on on music or playing the bass.
Okay. And is your brother generally the did you guys get played together when you were younger then a little bit? Was there some
Once in
jam
a
sessions
while.
once in a while?
Yeah,
Do you come from a
We're-
family of like musicians, or is there somebody else along the way that you would say has influenced
You know,
your interest?
it's hard to say. My family's not terribly musical. I mean, it was always kind of. It was something it was something our family knew was important to, to teach the kids music, because it's it's healthy for kids to be learning something that can like stimulate them, like stimulate their brains,
Mm-hmm.
keep the kids off drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
But other than that, we weren't terribly. I don't, we weren't a musical family. No. I do remember when I was a kid just seeing like rock bands on TV, and specifically thinking like, man, I would love to get a guitar so I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up being the bass. I mean, really, like, I didn't know much of a difference between the two at that time,
Mhm.
but, you kind of just end up sticking with one.
Yeah, definitely just feeling the strings for sure,
Yeah, exactly.
versus a percussion or brass of sorts.
Right. So that was the one I loved and went with that ever since, yeah.
Okay. I thought I'd give everybody a little Sabbath treat here and play Carter's favorite jam, Carter of Newly Breads. I would tune into a little bit of this.
From back in 7th grade.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Let us.
This was it.
Mm-hmm. We rocking a Black Sabbath here. Paranoid. yes, y'all. Black Sabbath, Paranoid. Can you dig it? That was one of Carter's first jams that he learned. Definitely just a solid bass riff on that joint.
Yeah.
The equalizer, if you will.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Just keeps it rolling.
But just touching back a little bit, we had just briefly mentioned, you know, uh, influence coming from a teacher or companion or of sorts. And so I just wanted to give you an introduction to a research paper entitled "Music and Art Educationally Essential," and it's the opening paragraph of a research paper that's in development, which we'll be further diving into within our networks later on in the future. But I thought I'd read the opening and then get some of Carter's feedback in response to um, music in the curriculum. So
All right.
here it is.
Shoot.
It starts, and I quote, "Are music and arts an important part of primary education? Imagine a school that doesn't offer a single class and doesn't have a single teacher that is designated to music or art. The U.S. school districts' budgets are cut as a result of a failure to meet requirements from legislative mandated annual exams. And so the priority for many schools is to then reform a curriculum that focuses on testable subjects and elevate those test scores with the intention of revamping district funding. And the issue is what is considered testable, literature, mathematics, science, are deemed superior to subjects related to music and art. As a result, the school's creative-based classes are being deprioritized, put off to the side, and in many cases just completely dropped from the school's curriculum. Because politicians don't recognize the arts, creative-based courses as testable, students are having the quality of their education jeopardized. Consequently, this research will explore the need for music and art in general education and why it is depleting from educational curriculum." Just based off that entrance, there's a lot of general stuff going on in there. But what is your take on that? What you hear from that, and what your knowledge is of music in current education curriculum?
Well, my knowledge isn't particularly extensive in that, but I mean I know that it's there's less and less funding being directed towards programs like music and art these days, and in lieu of more testable subjects, I suppose, like math and stuff. And I mean it I do think I think music and arts are so important for kids to learn, like, at a young age, because it gives them a subject that, I mean, it's valuable to have something that's not testable and not kind of like so numerically validated that it's that they have all these like constraints kind of like put on them. I mean, as is the case with such subjects like math, or your success is so like quantifiable,
Measured.
exactly. Where music it can teach kids to strive for you know strive for a level of success that's not quantifiable, and sorry, it just it gives kids kind of like it gives them goals to shoot for, with kind of no limits,
Right.
like there's no limits to how good a kid can get at playing drums.
Right.
And
Everything from the basic foundation to as far as you want to take it.
right, exactly.
It's more about the experience.
right. And kind of like challenging yourself and realizing that like your success is completely uh, uh, a product of the work that you put into it, and not, you know, the number like you receive back uh, to like validate your work put into it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
with a math test, like you know, say you mess up on a math test and like ooh,
2 plus 2 is 4, and you know what I mean? If it's
Yeah.
not the answer that you give, then ultimately you see failure in it. You know?
right.
But if somebody asks you to play this note and that note,
Yeah.
and you're gonna not necessarily go from a E to a G on point when you're beginning anyways, and just switch it up on somebody, you know, but that's not gonna be, you're not gonna be told, well, you didn't go from point A to point B, because there's that in between experience that's actually very valuable, because you
Right.
can take parts of that, manipulate them, and make them actually sound good, because with musical notes there's such an arrange and a variety. I mean,
Yeah. And not just to, I mean, not just to pick on music, but art too, in that, you know, it gives, it just gives people something to do, I mean, kids especially, that doesn't have its own limits, and it doesn't have its own, it doesn't have such, like, strict criteria uh, with how to do it and stuff. You know, I mean, it like lets kids know that you know it's upon them to basically make themselves good at it.
right, to decide when they're satisfied with
Right.
it, and not leaving it in the hands of other people's.
Yeah. Exactly.
It opens the door for independent thinking,
Right.
leadership skills, you know,
Finding
taking
where
alternative
to
approaches.
satisfy yourself as opposed to satisfying, yeah, like a standard. You know?
Exactly. So, and those experiences that you've had, you know, with music and dabbling in different arts as well. For somebody who's maybe interested, you know, to play live or to begin maybe a painting or something, based off your experience, what are some words of encouragement you can offer to people who are just starting, you know?
Well, I think take as much responsibility for your own success as possible, and the more I think that you're, the more the more you're willing to do to kind of like better your own situation, or your own kind of, the more work you're willing to put into like polishing your own stuff,
Yeah.
is you know, like that's gonna determine your ability to succeed, I
Yeah.
think. And yeah, it's you know, a lot of it I think becomes difficult with so many other things. There's a lot of there's a lot more structure to like a much more structured path to like achieving your goals, I guess. Whereas, like, you know, with something like music and art, it's really all about how you know, you just kind of gotta like love it and immerse yourself in it, and then everything will come in time. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. I just want to again thank you, Carter, from the Newlybreds, bassist from Newlybreds, coming down today and joining us and sharing with us some of your rhythms, your rhymes, your experiences.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and again, just a shout out again, August 31st down at Lindemans in River West, Wheel and Locust Street. You're going to catch the Newlybreds throwing down a set with the Heartland Whales and What Moves. So check them out. Show starts at probably 9 p.m., I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Friday, August 31st down there. And also, the Friday prior to that, we have another event down in the neck or the entrance to Bayview. It is a show at the Backyard located at 2155 South Kinnickinnick Avenue on August 24th. That's Friday. Doors at 7 p.m. We're having Ray Cassidy's going away party. Ray Cassidy and the Bygones will be playing alongside of Kane Place Record Club and Heidi Spencer. There'll be live painting and dance performances in between sets. So if you guys are looking for something to do, check that out. I encourage you to stop down as well and scope out some other local musicians. And the following Friday, catch the Newlybreds down at Lindemann. So that's the haps. That's the news on some local music here you can check out next couple of Fridays. And again, this is Christopher Rose, your host, with another show of OLAi Odyssey Local Artist Interviews. And this has been a pleasure sitting with you, Carter. We'll talk to you.
Been a pleasure, everybody.
Talk to you again
Thanks for
soon.
listening.